Hi, I'm doing this video outside today. Last night in Wisconsin we had a terrible rain, but this morning the sun is out, the birds are chirping, and it's a beautiful day. And it reminded me of something that happened to me when I was 13 years old. A couple of us guys decided to take a trip on our bicycles. The plan was this. We would bicycle in one direction for a couple of days, and then we would come back the same way. We packed a tent, we packed some food, and we packed absolutely no common sense whatsoever. And on our first night, we camped out in a field. It was dark. We didn't know where we were. We camped out, and that night, a terrible rain came down. The tent came down on us. And when we woke up in the morning, we found ourselves wrapped in a wet tent within wet sleeping bags. And it would seem, appearing out of nowhere, a guy in a long robe came up and asked us if we wanted some hot cocoa, some breakfast, and if we wanted to dry off. And I was the only kid that thought that was a good idea, so I went in with him. It turns out the guy in the long robe was a Cistercian monk. You know, the Trappist guys, the silent ones. And we had camped out on their front lawn. Well, after breakfast, he took me outside where they had a flock of sheep. And he says, why don't you help me gather these sheep together? So I started, I'm a city boy, right, from Milwaukee. I tried to run after the sheep, grab the sheep, get the sheep, and they kept running away from me. And in the end, even the ram was coming up to me and butting me with his horns. And then the monk called out to his sheep with his voice, and they all came running to him. He was teaching me the lesson of the Good Shepherd, wasn't he? And so in this Sunday's reading, as it turns out, this Sunday's reading, Jesus Christ says to us, I am the Good Shepherd. My sheep follow me because they know my voice. It's a great reading, isn't it? On that trip, I was lost. I was utterly lost. I didn't know where I was. I had no idea. My journey had aspects of fun and adventure, and at the same time, some of my journeys of life had been rather stupid. Well, that can be okay once in a while. The overall span and pattern of our journey in this life must have some purpose, must have some meaning. And I would just like again to quote the prophet Micah, who gave a good example of what purpose in life might be, what our journey might be. And he said, walk humbly with God. Do acts of justice. Show loving kindness to other people. And so, let all of the work that you do be meaningful in that sense. What I mean is, let Christ's love, the Good Shepherd's love, guide you in all that you do in this life's journey. Follow him. Youthful insanity in many of my first journeys in life was sometimes the pattern, and I would not recommend that whatsoever. I would rather recommend that you have the journey following the shepherd's voice for his purpose, the purpose of loving others, being kind, doing justice, walking humbly with the Lord. And I hope to see you next week. Take care.